having all the money in the world isn't worth anything if you're tied to the desk all day. Similarly, if you have all the time in the world, but you have no money, it's not worth anything because you're broke. So in this video, I want to share with you a process that I went through last year, a thinking process where I really just had to look at, okay, what do I want to achieve in my life and how do I kind of want to model my life? So in this video, I want to share with you how I went through trying to find leverage in my own business where I can not only make more money, but also achieve more time freedom in my own business. Because basically for me, the process or like the theme for last year was trying to set this plan really into motion so that I can get to where I want to get to. And so my hope with this video is really that whether you're just starting out or you already have a business running, but you don't really know like what the long-term plan is, I hope that you can take some of my thought process and reflect on what sort of I went through so you can implement it into your own life and hopefully get some more clarity and make yourself an action plan that will actually get you to where you want to get to. But before we get into it, let me just introduce myself. My name is Rasmus. I run an agency called Minix where we specialize in helping e-com brands scale holistically with paid ads, content, email, and website optimization. Also, if you end up enjoying this video, I would really appreciate it if you would give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That would massively help me out. And also, if you have any questions watching this video, throughout the video at the end, just leave a comment down below. I read all comments and answer all questions. So if there's something you want to chat about, just leave it down below and I'll be happy to get back to you. But with that being said though, let's get straight into it. So you may have heard of the term called buying back your time. An author called Dan Martell wrote a book called Buying Back Your Time, where he basically goes over the principles and the systems that he went through to basically completely eliminate himself from a business so it could run completely autonomously without him. And his whole idea basically was to map down what you like to do and what you do on a daily basis, and then based on your hourly salary, you would then just hire people to fill in those roles, and then as you keep doing new stuff, you just hire out those positions again and again and again. Now, the same principles basically apply. The only difference for me was that I don't want to eliminate myself from the business completely, but I would also like to have the opportunity to work on what I like to work on and basically put myself in a position where I can focus on just steering the ship to where I want the ship to go. So what I did last year was basically, first off, I just tried to break down my business, and I tried to break down as well, like, where do I actually want to be? Like, what do I want to do? Because I'm very vocal about this with friends. Like, the agency for me is not something I'm going to be doing 10 years. It's a great opportunity vehicle and it's a great cash flowing business. It doesn't require a lot of money. And if you do it right, it can also not require a lot of time. And it's a very like unsexy, simple business model. Like, there's delivery and then there's sales. So my question to myself was, okay, then first of all, how can I make more money? And then second, how can I then create more time freedom? Because as I said, I'm not opposed to working a lot in the business. I like working. I like putting in like 10, 12 hours a day. It's basically my entire life besides working out. So I don't mind that. So first off, let me just try and tackle like how I can make more money with this business. And for me, that really came down to creating stickiness. I could make leverage in my business with creating stickiness. And what I mean by this is that retention for any service-based business, or really also any like business that sells physical products, software, etc., the biggest sticking point they have is that they can't retain their existing customers. And if you can't retain your existing customers for a longer time, you will eventually plateau, because if you can only bring in 10 clients a month, for example, that pays you $3K per month, you will max out at 30,000 per month, assuming they only stay for 1 month, right? But if you can make them stay for 10 months instead of 1 month, then suddenly you've 10x your entire business. So for me, the question first off was just, how can I create more stickiness? And that tied well into the plan I have of what I want to be doing next, which is starting my own e-commerce brands. And so the solution to that problem or that question really became, okay, I need to hire people with different skill sets so that we can supply our customers help with their entire customer journey. We can both acquire customers, we can make the content, we can make the ads, we can also create the website where they actually convert into a customer, and then we can retain them through email marketing, right? So now we can basically run an entire e-commerce business besides the backend, customer support, logistics, product development, but we can do all the front end work. Like, we can actually scale a business, right? And so when we can do all those 4 things, which is everything that an e-commerce business really needs to scale up, we become very hard to replace, which is where the stickiness comes in. Because if the client decides to not work with us anymore, they will need to find essentially 4 different agencies to supply the services that we provide them. And we do it all on a performance basis, which means that if the clients win, we win. If the clients don't win, we also don't win. But most agencies out there, they charge a retainer. And let's just say, for an example, they charge 3K per month each of these agencies, which is quite common, probably a little bit on the low end if you want some high quality stuff. Then that's 12K per month. And they don't exactly know if they can get their money back from that 12K investment. And that's not even talking ad spend, cost to creators, and all these other like miscellaneous expenses that might be. So last year for me really was just getting all those people in place, because at the start of 2023, all we really did was only ads. We didn't do any content, we didn't do anything. Then in Feb, I hired someone to be basically head of creative that would handle everything regarding creative. So that is both videos and images. Then in the summer, I hired someone to do email marketing. And then at the end of 2023, I then hired someone to handle the entire website part of it. So it's really new for us and for me having this whole system operate, but I can already see how we become so much harder to replace for clients, and also we can bring much more value, because when you only provide one service, you are still relying on the rest of their business to function optimally, right? So for example, if we only run the ads, then we're at the mercy of the client to have a well-performing website that actually converts, and we also need them to make killer content. And in some cases, they just can't supply that, but we're still at the mercy of it because that's what we get judged on. Similarly, if you're an online or a personal trainer, for example, and you train people in the gym, in person, they probably have a goal of slimming down. Most people have that. They want to lose some weight. But if you can't supply them with a nutrition plan, then your work really is pointless. Because if they eat too many calories, if they hire a nutritionist that just don't know what they're doing, and they make a woman eat 4,000 calories a day, which is way too much, she's never going to be losing weight. But you're still going to be judged on that because they came to you to try and lose weight because they thought the gym was the way they were going to lose weight, not necessarily the food they're eating. And so us being able to control all the inputs, we also get a much better control of the output that we can get from the clients and the actual results we can provide them, right? And so us making performance-based deals means that the more money we can make our clients, the more money we make, the happier they'll be. And even if we have a downturn, because we're so hard to replace, they won't leave as soon as stuff goes bad. And that's a really common thing in the agency world, and I think in all sort of service-based businesses. If you don't have something proprietary and you don't have any real reason why they should stay because you're easily replaceable, clients will leave the second that stuff goes south. So now for me, really what I've done is I've created a unit of people. So there's 4 people working with each individual client that comes on, and they can now handle all the client communication and all the delivery. And so now I can focus all my time really on the sales part. Here, what I'm trying to do now is also trying to gain leverage on this. So this is my thought process. Right now we have 3 VAs that handles all the like manual outreach. And then what I have to do is just making sure that everything gets tracked. I have to make sure that I create Loom videos for potential prospects that are interested in our services, and then I can go on sales calls. Sales calls is what I enjoy the most. I can go on sales calls every single day, but I really don't like the appointment setting part of it. So for me to try and gain even more leverage and create more time freedom, I need to find a way to automate this. And for me, I think that will be running ads and then figuring out a way to make an offer work through ads. And that basically means, and this is what I'm doing right now, is that I'm front loading a lot of time into creating a lot of different like funnels and offers for clients or for potential prospects. And maybe some of it will work. And if it works, then that means that time I've front loaded, let's say it's a week, all that work that's gone into that can then run for the next 3, 6, 12 months and can land me basically an unlimited amount of clients depending on how much we spend. And so it's really worth it compared to now where I have to spend a certain amount of time on each individual prospects that might be interested in our services. And for the most part, they're not. So I spend wasted time, whereas this is not so much wasted time. So basically what I've created and what I'm still trying to create is I'm trying to alleviate time from my day-to-day work so I can focus on stuff I actually want to work on. I'm not trying to work like 2 to 4 hours a day and trying to see how I can maximize that. I'm just trying to see how can I spend 10 to 12 hours a day doing something that I think is more meaningful than what I'm doing right now. And I think if you go through the same process and actually think about where you want to go, same for me, like I want to have e-commerce brands because the nature of having an agency is that you provide more value to the client than what you charge and what you spend for them. So that basically means that we're leaving money on the table, right? So now I've created essentially a unit, a team of people where we can take what we're doing for clients and we can just apply it to ourselves and then get into a better opportunity vehicle. All this while still making money, right? So I've been front loading some money, but I'm already making it back. And so this is how I've created leverage, both in terms of time, because now I don't have to do anything on client delivery or client communication, but also in terms of monetary, because we provide better results for clients and they stay around for longer because the product that we deliver them is far, far better than it was just a year ago. So if you can go through the same thought process, I think you'll come to realize that what you're doing right now might not be the end goal, but maybe you can structure a plan together where A, you get to do what you want to do, B, you have the time to just focus on what you want to do, and C, you can make money while you're going from point A to point B. So where you are now to where you want to go. Maybe you're an online coach and you want to do something else, but maybe you can try and structure things in a way that you don't have to just kill what you're doing right now and then go immediately to the next thing, but you can have a transition period and not go broke and not, having to risk your entire income. So this is basically what I've been going through for the past year, and still sort of what I'm trying to achieve and what I'm still working towards. But I hope you got some value from this video. If you did, I would massively appreciate it if you gave it a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions after watching this, just leave a comment down below. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. But that's it for now, guys. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye.